What's going on, YouTube? How are y'all doing this evening? Good morning if you on my side of the earth. Let's get into it. Let's see who we got in the building, man. Shout out to Craig, the tech guy. Shout out to Alex, my moderator. Yeah, like, don't jump too far ahead. We're going to get into it, man. We're going to get into it. Which reminds me, I need to do this. I need to change the title real quick, you guys. I need to show my brother Bo some love, because that's who we are going to be reacting to. Let me make that change real quick to the title. My bad, guys. All right. Yeah, man. Shout out to Bo, bro. Let's see. No, I'm gonna go to Romania one of these days. Let's see. Make sure y'all check out the travel vlog channel. Also, make sure y'all follow me on TikTok and Instagram, Average Man Unplugged. Link to the merch if you want to support the merch. And the music channel just dropped a new mixtape the other day. The music that I've been playing at the beginning of the live shows recently, like y'all just heard, that's one of the new tracks on there. So make sure y'all subscribe to the music channel. And also my email if you have a foreign testimonial or a video that you want me to react to. I believe I have a foreign testimonial. I was just waiting on to hear back from my brother about sending pictures that I can use. So I need to take a look at that. Oh, kicking in the door, man. Oh, man. I hope I don't butcher your name. I thought I was about to sneeze. I hope I don't butcher your name, brother. DJ Salations Sims. He is a new member, man. Thank you so much, brother. And again, I apologize if I butcher your name, brother. DB. Yeah, y'all jumping the gun in the comments, bro. We gonna get into it. Man, the Mrs. O show. Oh, okay. We got some more feminine energy in the chat, man. Y'all know I love it, bro. Tiger 9511, what's going on, bro? Mrs. Don in the building. Yeah, I had a decent 4th of July. It wasn't too bad. I'm like, I ain't do too much. Now that I think about it, I think, yeah, I ain't do, I went on a date. That was about it. Oh, yeah, that reminds me. I need to check that. Okay. I was hoping I reached out to Richie Mack. I was hoping to hear back from him. Because it seems like me, Richie Mack is back. And El Guapo and Danny Flight, we all out here at the same time. I think they were saying something about doing a meetup, man. So I definitely wanted to link up and do that for you guys because that'll be great content for the Travel Vlog channel. Shout out to Mrs. Don Husband, King Diablo, Sigma Rodon, what's going on, brother? Eternal Virtues, what's going on? Ben Cisco, what's going on? Dino, what's up, man? Hey, you know what? I get that comment a lot. How my content is a little bit more rough around the edges. I'm like that might explain why I don't have um the size audience that people claim I should have, because a lot of people will tell you, man, you should have 100K already. I'm like, yeah, but my content is a little bit more blunt, so to speak. Yeah, rough around the edges is typically what I get. So it's hilarious though. I appreciate that. Cause for real, like I always try to throw a little humor in where I can. You know, I tell guys all the time, like, you can't be serious all the time. So I throw a little bit of humor in there. And in some cases, even my transparency can be humor. So yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Shout out to Jermaine. What's going on, bro? Josh, what's going on? One mic, so focus. Okay, we got 41 watching. Hit that like button. I'm seeing a lot of people in here, some new faces. Yes, hold the line, man. Because if this is their 2025 project, man, they're hey. Really, a Zelda sample? Hmm. It's a jazz progression actually, but I can see why you say it sounds like Zelda. Money Mitch, what's going on, bro? Rockin' Hound Dog 90, man, what's going on, bro? B org, exactly. Like that'll be next too. Well, I know they got rid of. I think they got didn't they get rid of they got rid of lifetime alimony in Florida, didn't they? I think they got rid of it in Florida. But yeah, as far as nationwide, yeah, they're really, and you know, women were in an uproar about Florida. Can you imagine if that was nationwide? They'd really be upset. They would really be upset, man. X Factor. Yeah, that's true. There's some truth to that. Carnal nature, what's going on, bruh? Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. I'm like I said, I ain't do too much. I actually went out on a date on the 4th, so I ain't, outside of that, I ain't do too much outside the norm. Damn, that sound good. If it's one thing I do miss is barbecue food. Oh my lord. I know I'm a go ham when I get home, bro. It's a lot. I mean, especially out here in Thailand, I love the food out here because it's good and it's healthy. But certain luxuries I miss, man. Like y'all already know, I'm gonna get that Chick-fil-A when I get back home. Ben Cisco, what's going on, bro? Shout out to my members, Chief Scribe 913, Mr. G Rap, what's going on? What's going on, bro? IKIB Beats, what's going on, bro? Ooh, kicking in the door with the $5 super chat is if not, it's cool. Super sticker. Appreciate that, my brother. Thank you so much. Like, don't mind me. I'm like, bro, I'm in Thailand, so I've kind of like gotten in the habit. That's become a habit now. Like, man, that's why I love Thailand so much, bro. The way they show respect to one another, bro, is top tier. Uh, Lions Den, man, what's going on, bro? It was pretty good. Went to this place called Oxygen, man. It's pretty dope. Like it ain't too far from where I'm staying at either. Like 10 minute, like not even a 10 minute bike ride. Let me see. Anybody else in here? Malik, what's going on, bro? Yes, Jermaine, definitely my second home. We got 50 watching, 57 watching. Please hit that like button if you just came in. I am in South Pattaya. So I'm basically sitting right in between Central Pattaya and Jomtien, basically. Which is honestly, if guys were coming to Pattaya, I would recommend they stay here in this area because you're sitting in between where most of the action is going on at. So it's like if I want to go to Soy Bucal, Walking Street, all of that is like not even a 10-minute ride away. If you wanted to go to Soy Six, about a 15-minute ride away. Um, and if you wanted to go somewhere in Jomtien, about another 15-minute hour, depending on where you're going, 15, 20-minute ride away. So, yeah. All right, so we got 58 watching. Please hit that like button on the way in. I'm caught up on the chat. Let's go ahead and get into this. Give me 1 second to set this up. Oh man. Yeah, I came across this and I was like, oh yeah, we definitely gotta react to this because oh man, because the woman that's reporting it, man, she does not look like she's happy, bro. Oh my god, man. Thank you for the fair use, Alex. She does not look too happy. She did not look too happy at all. I'm like, I watched like the first few seconds of it. I was like, yeah, because you don't look too happy. We gonna go ahead and react to this because anytime something works in the favor of man. It's like, oh my God. Oh man, God forbid anything is done to protect the man and potentially his assets. I tell you. Say if she's not happy, she's evil. Man. All right, we got 67 watching. Please hit the like button. And again, man, shout out to Bo, Legion of Men. Big fan of his content. Dude, it's crazy to see the growth that he's had. Because let me tell y'all something. I've been watching Bo since he had like 10,000 subscribers. So to see that his channel has grown to where it is now, man, it's good to see, man. It's good to see. Big Easy 1980 with the $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, my brother. Appreciate that. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into it. 65 watching. Please hit that like button, man, and get this out in the algorithm because this is an important live show, man. This is very important, bro. This is right up there with the government over here, what we discussed last weekend, man. Shout out to Don for sending that video. Let's get it.
Welcome back, tribe. I have one here from the Young Turds. Just kidding. Young Turks. They're saying right-wingers are fighting to end no-fault divorce. I haven't seen this. What's their take on this?
Fault divorce is very, very bad. But I think the reform to no-fault divorce is far simpler. It should be reformed by simply ceasing to exist. Marriage is much more than a contract. It's a covenant.
There are a lot of problems with the current legal structure of marriage. I agree with that critique of the current legal structure of marriage. No-fault divorce is one of the worst things that ever happened to Western civilization.
I think she's entitled to nothing during these proceedings. And I think the problem is no-fault divorce.
I still believe that children need a mom and a dad and that divorce is horrible. But in today's legal system, my beliefs don't matter.
We got to get rid of no-fault divorce.
Well, Tim Pool, you might be getting your wish because there are Republican lawmakers who are literally working on that type of policy as we speak. So conservative lawmakers in multiple states and on a national level are considering attempts to eliminate or restrict divorces in cases where fault cannot be proven. Right now, laws exist on or in all 50 states that allows people to end a marriage without having to prove that someone in that marriage did something wrong, like cheating or domestic abuse. The socially conservative, though, and often religious members of society have a different idea, right? So right-wing opponents of such laws are arguing that this deprives men of due process and it hurts families. In reality, oftentimes, couples that want a divorce don't want to accuse each other of terrible things. They just want to part ways and be done with it. And I don't really see how it's beneficial for society to force two individuals who no longer want to be in a marriage to continue being in a marriage.
How was I going to guess that she's going to somehow argue to keep no-fault divorces? Yes, because those are the issues of people's problems not being seen and making it harder for them to separate. No, it's not coming home and watching the pool boy smash out your wife and you worked your entire life and have 3 kids together and she just caught some fifis and didn't know who she was in her mid-40s and wanted to have a fling and then divorces you. And because it's a no-fault divorce state, she's not at fault. You're going to get reamed in the courts. You may lose your kids if they're still young. And your life is now over. She gets half your assets, half your retirement plan, half of everything when she's the one that broke the contract. This is insane. So I have an article. I just texted it to myself. You saw there earlier, but it says conservative U.S. lawmakers, will cover this on another, are pushing for an end to no-fault divorce. It says Republican lawmakers in Louisiana, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Texas have discussed eliminating or increasing restrictions on no-fault marriages. Thank the Lord. They're finally moving. Has the voter base of young, disgruntled men, or just men in general, not even young, just all men disgruntled with the horrendous decline in marriages, children, and all the other metrics that are terrible for relationships. The court biases, are those coming up next? I mean, what else? If we're discussing no-fault divorces now, has the ball started rolling? Are we going to start discussing things like alimony as well? Child support as well? It seems like, boys, the pendulum is swinging back a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you guys, man, I think this is a product of men holding the line. That's why I put that in the title. Because when did y'all think y'all would ever hear the day where lawmakers are working on trying to get rid of this? You already know brothers still gonna get their passport, because just because you change the laws, man, don't mean you're gonna change the way the women move and think nowadays. However, I will say this: if they were to make this change and make changes in terms of alimony and child support, like Bo mentioned, at that point, then women wouldn't have much of a choice but to start moving a little bit more different. You feel me? I'm like, because if you take away their safety net, I promise you, bro, women would move way different than what they do now. Way different. Yeah, you'll enjoy Thailand, man. This is my home away from home, brother. That's for sure, man. For real. All right, let's go ahead and get back into it.
Living under the same roof and being miserable with one another. But nonetheless, many of you.
So don't get married willy-nilly. This is a contract for life. That means you have done the due diligence and vetted your partner thoroughly. And this is the person you're going to decide to spend the rest of your life with. You know what you can do? Not get married then, and just live under the same house. Why are you getting married, saying those vows out loud, most likely in a church, if you have no intention of staying with that person for the rest of your life? Does it make any goddamn sense? Oh, it makes it easier to divorce. How about you just don't get married anyway if you don't believe in the sanctity and the vows? Idiot.
You have already heard claims from conservatives like Tim Pool who think that it's a bad idea to allow people to have these no-fault divorces. And you're about to hear more. Let's watch.
What we're talking about in the American divorce regime is called no-fault divorce. And no-fault divorce is, one, a contradiction in terms. You can't get it. You can't break a contract if there's no fault of anyone. And two, it's horrific for children and it's horrific for the spouses.
Marriage is much more than a contract. It's a covenant. To truly go your own way, alone and isolated, is to give up on your duty, your legacy, your ancestors, your bloodline, your civilization, your happiness.
Marriage is a commitment. That commitment is lifelong. There should actually have to be a really, really, really good reason.
And I like that they're fighting for marriage and fighting for having children and all that. And it's great. Every single man wants to be the head of his own household, lead his own family, have his own children, his own legacy, live on when he passes on. But a lot of men have completely drawn the line at change the laws, and then we can talk about it. Change the biases in courts, then we can talk about it. Change the fact that she can take my kids from me by default, and we can then talk about it. Until those things get changed, I will either A, go my own way, or B, go overseas, or C, not play the game at all. That's essentially the three options today that men are choosing from. It's causing economic damage. America's losing her hegemony. Because how the fuck do you project power when your population's in steep decline, when men and women don't like each other, when nobody's producing kids, nobody will be manning the guns, nobody's manning the drones. Oh, the AI will do everything. You still need boots on the ground. Can't invade a country with just machines. Not yet, at least, until we build Terminators. But what if they turn on us? Who knows what the future holds? You still need people to occupy land if you want to take it over. You still need people to defend it. You still need people to make the bombs. Man, the machines that make the bombs. Repair the machines that need to machine the bombs. Hands are still needed on deck in order for society to function. What happens when a sizable portion of that population starts decreasing, but your enemies are increasing? It doesn't bode well. History has taught us that.
Why you are divorcing, and that's particularly true if you have children, because, of course, marriage is designed as the fundamental building block of institutional society. It is the place where children are reared. It is the place where you produce children in the first place. And children require stability.
The traditional response to how you fix marriage is divorce is not allowed.
Okay, but
There's rare circumstances where like a guy is threatening to murder and beating his wife and his kids, and infidelity is one of these things.
No-fault divorce is an absolute tragedy. It is the catalyst for every other degenerate marriage and relationship problem that we have in society.
She sounds like a good time. Listen, okay,
Come
great.
on,
Go ahead
man.
and
Hold on, bruh. Dude, bro, it's very obvious that this woman is like a super leftist because she doesn't agree with she doesn't agree with anything. Hold on, bro.
Marriages, divorce is not allowed.
okay, but
There's rare circumstances where like a guy is threatening to murder and beating his wife and his kids, and infidelity is one of these things.
No-fault divorce is an absolute tragedy. It is the catalyst for every other degenerate marriage and relationship problem that we have in society.
she sounds like a good time.
Yeah, a better time than you just off of the mindset. The hell you talking about? She sounds like a good time. And keep in mind, you guys, this is the same woman that had something negative to say about Passport Bros, so we really shouldn't be surprised. She's another one of those, they don't want to protect and provide anymore. Like, ma'am, you work for the freaking news, bro. It's like, how small is your dating pool, really? Why the hell should a man have to provide for you when you working for the damn news? You make plenty of money. I tell you, bro, these women are just selfish, bro. Let's keep it moving, man.
Listen, okay, great. Go ahead and pass laws restricting divorce, and let's see how much the marriage rate drops from what it already is. It's already dropped considerably, but you're going to make it harder for people to divorce. You're going to have more people living under the same roof, having children.
Why is the narrative it's going to be harder to divorce? It's going to be just as easy to divorce as it is today. You just start the paperwork and be done with it. This is just putting the onus on the person who broke the contract that they get nothing for breaking the contract. That if you engage in infidelity, if you engage in some form of fraud, paternal perhaps, that you don't get anything. That's it. No fault and divorce don't go together. If a divorce happened, something is at fault. Now, you can amicably, mutually come together through an understanding and say, you know what? We both fell out of love. Let's get a divorce. Whether no-fault divorces exist or not, doesn't matter. These two people will sign the contract because they're adults legally in the United States and begin the proceedings for a separation. There is nothing stopping you. I don't understand where the narrative of it's going to be harder to get divorced. It's going to be easier, actually, to get divorced. Because if you find someone at fault, you can now enforce it with the state. She broke the contract. He broke the contract. I caught her cheating. I caught him cheating. Freaking pig. Animal. He smashed the maid. She smashed the pool boy. And you lose everything. So what happens? Marriages tend to be taken more seriously, and the people in them will be trying harder to keep them intact. Instead of, I'm just going to smash the pool boy. I don't care anymore. There's no consequences, no fault divorce. Now, I better think twice about doing something stupid that'll cause my husband or my wife to divorce me, and I get nothing. All the time spent together, all the years will be nullified, just like I nullified the contract by breaking it. You have access to no assets, no child support, no alimony, period, if you break this contract. And that's how it should be. That's logical. That's in the world today, in society that we have today, where people should have their own agency, their own rights, strong, independent boss babes, don't need no man's money, should be advocating for this exact thing. We don't need men to take care of us. We don't need to be reaming their asses in court and having all this we could take care of ourselves. We make our own money. If I want a divorce from a man, I should be able to walk away, period, and not have to split any assets. How are women not fighting for this no-fault divorce stuff? How are women not saying, well, if it's such a chore, if it's such a burden to be married to a man, well, why don't we have at-fault divorces? Because if I catch that dog cheating, I better be able to take him for everything. He shouldn't be able to get nothing from me. I work too hard for my career. Why not? Where are the women fighting for that? That's their angle. That should be their angle, judged based on the arguments they have in society today against men. It's
Yeah, especially when you got women like Mary J. Blige and other women who make a significant amount of money and ended up having to pay alimony and child support to their ex-husbands and kids. Wasn't it Mary J. Blige who said, I think a man that comes for a woman's money is weak? Well, if y'all think it's so weak, then y'all should not have an issue with this. Because I just saw somebody in the chat said that this woman right here is supposedly with a baseball player. Well, that just further proved my point that her pool is small, because she is the typical woman that we talk about on this channel all the time. Of course she's dealing with a baseball player, because even though she is highly successful, she still feels entitled to deal with a man that makes enough to provide. And in her case, lavish lifestyle. Because let's be honest, man, when that's what most of these women mean when they say provide. Well, I literally just did a video about a girl who got a kid, and her man are living off of 30-40K a year. I tell you, man, this women like her, bro.
it's crazy. Only when it benefits them. Selective feminism, eh?
Yep.
Out of wedlock, which is what conservatives don't want. Like the idea that a couple needs to prove that there's a good reason for them to divorce in order to be able to part ways is ridiculous to me. And this is coming from individuals who purport to want to protect freedom in America. But they're getting involved in literally the most intimate personal decisions that Americans can make about their personal lives. It is insane. In the case of Steven Crowder, by the way, he was bitter after it was exposed that he's pretty abusive to his wife.
Again, that's also a lie in the narrative. Dude, I hate how they do this. I covered that thing with Crowder. I attacked him on just the way he was speaking to his wife and the attitude he was having. It came from a more beta-styled frame. But overall, in general, I'd say that's one of the episodes I made a mistake on, judging him too harshly overall in his marriage. It came out later that his wife was the one setting up that entire clip pretty much. More details about their marriage actually had come out. She turned out to be a nasty person, yada, yada, yada. So when I was judging him, I judged him too harshly. I'll take that one back and say that was a straight up L. The context of the clip that we got was so hyper focused on that exact altercation that I took that at face value and said, here's how, from a male versus a female point of view, behaviorally, he should be responding to his wife acting in that manner. Alas, made a mistake judging him on the rest of his marriage and all the other stuff. Whatever I mentioned in the episode, can't even remember. So I'll take the loss on that one. But for her to say that he's abusive, that is this women sticking with women no matter what the facts are, even when it proves that they're the ones at fault. I mean, the Amber Heard trial proved exactly why you shouldn't trust them and take their word at face value. All the other false accusations that have happened throughout the years that have been recanted, that have destroyed men's lives, young men in college, got them kicked off the campus or lost scholarships or have lost contracts with professional organizations, say like the NFL or baseball or whatever else. Men that have had to step down from powerful positions because of an allegation that later is retracted. Yet again, over and over again, we find out that in the world that we live in today, women are treated with kid gloves and men are forced to pay the price and the brunt of the consequences and responsibility for everything in their lives, including the women that they're with. This is why I tell you guys, accountability, finding a woman that has healthy self-esteem, and above all else, self-awareness, is a critical thinker, thinks for themselves, forms their own opinions first, then listens to what everyone else has to say, is uber important in the world we live in today, where propaganda is essentially injected into your brain 24/7.
I'm gonna let you know right now, finding that kind of woman in the States, literally needle in a haystack. Literally needle in a haystack. Right. Cardinal Nature said, do those even exist? What are those? Oh my goodness, man.
24/7. This thing is attached to them like surgically to their hands today. And this is all they do, guys. This is it all day. Swiping up. Ha 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 ha. Dopamine.
And now that I think about it, if she is with a baseball player like y'all said she is, that would explain why she's against this. Like because she probably already making her exit strategy to cash out on him anyway. I'm like, and so that's another reason why I'm not surprised that she has this stance. If she's dating who y'all say she dating, y'all know baseball players make real good money, even the ones that aren't that good.
I mean, do this. Your man ain't shit. This, you deserve all 6 foot 7, 8 figures, 9-pack, 10-inch hammer. Blah, blah, blah. Never settle on the table. Blah, blah. Dude, it's non-stop depression injecting, dopamine burning, trash content. If that's your woman, you're in trouble. And we've seen it from all the dating episodes that we've covered. It doesn't just affect the young women that are also the most vulnerable, but even 60-year-olds are getting on TikTok crying, behaving like children. It completely hijacks your brain and turns you into a freaking NPC. Having a woman that doesn't engage in social media like that, isn't into celebrity culture and worshiping celebrities just because they're famous. Dude, these are signs of low intelligence. You have to vet for this, man. It's not just beauty anymore. It doesn't cut it in our world. So your woman actually has to be smart. Simply following directions and being a little Stepford wife at home isn't going to cut it. Your woman's going to get her brain hijacked by this, and you're going to come home to her getting triple teamed by the neighbors because, it was a fantasy, then 10 things to do before you die. Get smashed by 3 husbands in the neighborhood. TikTok said so. It's crazy, bro. I'm just saying, obviously, that's an insane hypothetical. We're just laughing at the situation. But your woman can be persuaded through TikTok to end her marriage, to get a divorce, that the grass is greener on the other side, and that she should be free, and inject some fake emotion into her brain and makes her feel a certain way that she starts self-affirming through all the TikToks in her daily life, and then your marriage is destroyed. I'm just saying. So, yeah. And Steven Crowder, my bad, brother. Keep going.
Yeah, that was a hell of a rant, but let me see. All right, my bad, you guys. I was just trying to keep up with the chat. Let's get it.
And yeah, she wanted a divorce. Who wouldn't want a divorce? And by the way, I just want to make clear, in that case, I wouldn't say that it's a no-fault divorce. It seems like there's some evidence indicating that that relationship was not a good one, potentially a very abusive one. And I hope that, she's able to part ways with him and not have to deal with him ever again.
See how they build the narrative?
Unfortunately, they have children together, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but like he said, come to find out that a lot of that stuff wasn't true. But you know how these women act, bro. It's like they believe first and ask questions later, or in some cases they don't even ask questions later.
Now, here's Senator J.D. Vance talking about increasing divorce rates back in 2020.
And this is one of the great tricks that I think the sexual revolution pulled on the American populace, which is this idea that these marriages were fundamentally, they were maybe even violent, but certainly they were unhappy. And so getting rid of them and making it easier for people to shift spouses like they change their underwear, that's going to make people happier in the long term. And maybe it worked out for the moms and dads, though I'm skeptical, but it really didn't work out for the kids of those marriages. And I think that's what all of us should be honest about, is we've run this experiment in real time, and what we have is a lot of very, very real family dysfunction that's making our kids unhappy.
There are a lot of myths about the divorce rate in America, and it's enraging.
Here we go.
Because it just persists and no one ever really looks into it. So let's talk about what divorce in America really looks like.
Here's the liberal point of view.
There was a period of time where divorces experienced a spike. So the divorce rate in the United States increased significantly from 1960, when it was 9.2 per 1,000 married women, to 22.6 in 1980.
And here's how they twist the stats. How many people were getting married in 1960 out of 100 versus how many people are getting married right now in 2022 out of 100? This is how they twist the stats. We're hardly getting married at all anymore. And of those hardly getting married, the stats are still horrible. The stats are still at 14.5. Not much of a fucking improvement when the marriage rates have been cut by over half and single parent household has exploded.
80.
And the part that she's being very disingenuous about, you guys, quick history lesson, man. Y'all already know this. What happened between 1960 and 1980 for women? Y'all entered the workforce. Y'all were given birth control as well as child support, sexual liberation. All of this happened within that 20 years, and look how much of an impact it had. These were all things that were supposed to work in the favor of women. If these were all things that women wanted, why in the hell is there such a spike in divorce in that time frame? If women were just getting what they wanted, if women were just getting what they fought for, all those things that I mentioned, I don't give a damn what anybody say. That plays a huge part as to why that divorce rates. That's why it was such a spike, because around that time, women were starting to get more of the things that they claim that they should have rights to, like being able to provide for themselves, Miss Anna. So yeah, I agree with Bo. When they be trying to twist the stats, yeah, I'm like, I ain't going for that. Yeah, apparently that, according to Ben, that's when no fault divorce was set in place as well. So proving my point even further. Thank you, Ben. Like, women were given a lot in those 20 years during that spike. That's why that spike is there. Because I guarantee you, if y'all didn't have any of those things that y'all have now, them divorce rates you wouldn't have had that kind of a spike in divorce rates. Because during that time, the marriage rate was going down too. I tell you, man, like, it was like just so disingenuous, bro. Like, what baseball player married her or is with her? Like, why are y'all dealing? Why is you dealing with her?
But by 2022, the rate had fallen to 14.5. Now, there's a reason for that. And it's
because less people are getting married.
because of the fact that, people waited longer to get married. I think that has a lot to do with it. So you don't get married when you're super young and you don't even know who you are yet. I think that had something to do with it.
And that's another reason why less people are getting married, especially men, because men don't want to marry older women, at least not in mass anyway, especially the ones that are childless and want to start a family. But, well, we'll let her continue with the rhetoric.
But the reason why there was that spike in divorces is because many of those marriages were in fact violent. There was domestic abuse within those marriages. And suddenly you have a situation in which women felt empowered to leave an abusive marriage.
Let me tell y'all something. As somebody that is Look, man, my parents were married for 46 and a half years. Meaning they were, I tell you, man, this is, women like her give me a headache, bro. How the fuck do you even know if those were abusive? How would you know that? I seriously want to know, how would she know that? Because this is the same woman who was talking about she was over here talking about myths and shit like that. I would argue that all those relationships and marriages back in the day being abusive, I would argue that's a myth too. Oh yeah, I knew about Anna when she shitted on Passport Bros. That told me everything I wanted to know. Cause I find it so, and cause that's what I find real funny, when you got women out here who go out of their way to become successful and they still want a man to take care of them. It's like, I tell you, man, she is the typical liberal woman that still holds men to a traditional standard. And then, yeah, that's who she crapped on, Digital Bro Mad. I remember. But she is the typical modern woman of today, where I have my liberal stance, but I still hold men to a traditional standard. She is the perfect example of what the fuck is wrong with women in the West, man. Because women be quick to say, y'all ain't traditional anymore. And women are quick to say men aren't traditional anymore, as if they are. Because if we're really being brutally honest with one another, traditionalism really doesn't exist in the West anymore. But the problem is that men are still held to a traditional standard. Meanwhile, women, they want to be able to pick and choose, but don't want to give men that same grace. Even in our economy, where you're gonna need multiple incomes in order to be comfortable. Yeah, traditionally hypocrites. So yeah, you got that right, Blue Exodus. This is ridiculous, man. What's going on, Reese? I see you, bro. Yeah, and I'm gonna be doing a video on that, because I came across a woman who said something to that effect. And man, I know women were not happy to hear her say this, because I've been saying this for the longest, and it was so refreshing to see a woman say it. Yeah, you know the thing. Yeah, Andy B. That's how I know. Yeah, Andy B. You've been watching me for a long time. Walking contradictions, indeed. I'm like that. That's exactly what they want. That's exactly what they want. And again, she's a good example of that, because this is a woman who is arguing against getting rid of no fault divorce, but this is also the same woman that was shitting on Passport Bros, Digital Bro Mad in particular. So the fact that she's arguing against no fault divorce, but she has an issue with Passport Bros as well, and you're a successful newscaster who, from what y'all are saying, is dealing with a baseball player, it all makes sense now. I'm like, it all makes sense now. Of course, you don't want no fault divorce to go into effect, because this baseball player that you with, no matter how much he does for you, no matter how much he does right, you can leave at any given time you want and take half of his shit. And you know that. That's why you're fighting against it. Because you know what? I bet you if she was dealing with a man that made less than her, she wouldn't be arguing for this shit. I guarantee you, bro, if she was in the same situation Adele was in, the same situation Holly Berry was in, she'll be singing a different tune when it comes to this topic. I guarantee it, bro.
So before 1969, when California Republican Governor Ronald Reagan approved the country's first no-fault divorce law, yeah, that Ronald Reagan, he did that, women were often forced to stay in abusive marriages. Between 1976 and 1985, states that passed the laws saw their domestic violence rates against men and women fall by about 30%. The number of women murdered by an intimate partner declined by 10%, and female suicide rates also declined by 8 to 16%. And this impacted children as well, not in a negative way, in a positive way, because they're no longer stuck in a household where they have parents engaging in domestic violence, obviously. Kimberly.
Okay. Let's say those stats are true. Let's just say her stats are true, you guys. All right. I'll give you that. What about right now, though? I want her to look up those same stats right now. Matter of fact, she should be looking up the stats of why women typically file today. See, this is the part. See, this is how she's being disingenuous, because this is her sole argument, getting out of abusive relationships. Well, let me tell you something. The reason why they're probably doing this is because that's no longer one of the top reasons why women are filing for divorces, Anna. Goofy, bruh. Matter of fact, if I believe so, I would have to look it up myself, but I remember somebody covering it. Most of the time is financial. And yeah, Money Mitch. Yeah, she wanted to bring up suicide rates. I'm like, I'm sorry, unalive, because I don't think you're allowed to use that word. I apologize, YouTube. Don't put me in the yellow. Unalive himself. Yeah, that rate is very high, because she over here talking about the unaliving rates for. I'm like, yeah, they're even higher. And I'm like, and you look at them, look at those rates now. It's the complete opposite. Men are unaliving themselves at a much higher rate than women. And it's typically coming off of a divorce, because y'all are taking these men for everything. And when men see this, they're no longer incentivized to marry y'all. Whoever this baseball player is that she's dealing with, he would be smart not to marry her. As a matter of fact, I would be staying in separate houses and every damn thing. Like you ain't about to hit me with the any kind of loopholes. Just because I'm Reese, member for 9 months, says I see women still being walking contradictions still. The West is dead. At first I said life support. Damn, it's just dead. Man, appreciate that, brother, man. Shout out to all my members, man. Right. I ain't even bring that up. The amount of men that are becoming homeless off of divorce. See, that's what I'm saying. See, she don't want to talk about that because see, everything that she's speaking of is coming through the female lens, bro. She's only thinking about women. She's not thinking about family and the kids like she claims she is.
Well, who's a professor at the University of Baltimore School of Law, says that without such laws,
And then I'll tell you, look, while the national marriage rates have continuously fluctuated between 1890 and 1960 with peaks and troughs in between, there's been a consistent decline since the 70s. Isn't it funny how she's talking about those laws being passed? It says, whereas the marriage rate in 1970 stood at 76.5%, today, that rate has more than halved, down to a paltry 31%. Only 31% of people are getting married today. And of the 31%, 14.5 of them are getting divorced. U.S. marriage rate has declined 60% since 1970. Pay attention how they twist the statistics, build the narratives, and propagandize their viewers. And then they'll go home after watching this video and go, conservatards. They don't know shit. They're restricting my right to no-fault divorce. If I want to leave, I'll leave when I want with no consequences. Who's most of the liberal base? Women. Of course. No shit. This is the message they send out.
meaning the ability to have a no-fault divorce, it's hard to prove anything in court relating to a family because you don't have any witnesses. It's very difficult to get evidence to show abuse of children. How do you do it? Do you put kids on the stand? And there were also huge implications for the economic well-being of wives, many of whom stayed home and didn't make money on their own. If they could not prove that their husband had been abusive or persuade him to grant a divorce, they would not be able to take any assets from that marriage or remarry. And that's according to a study that was published in the Quarterly Journal of Economics. But some people in the alleged Party for Personal Freedom, which is hilarious to me considering what they're trying to do here, basically want to go back to the Dark Ages. And they want to go back
oh my God, medieval times. Off with his head. Grab the guillotine, sir.
Oh my goodness, bro. Oh my God, bro. This woman is about to give me a headache, man.
Is a witch. What are you talking about? The Dark Ages, you turd. You live in a society where you have just as much, if not more, freedoms than men do. You're pushed through the door at the expense of men. Are you kidding me? Is this really how they're man, TYT has fallen. I remember watching them back in the early days when they were actually decent. Now it's just a mouthpiece for the mainstream. Unbelievable. Boys, get a passport, get out of the West. This is what people are consuming in the West. You'll find happiness outside, internationally, with traditional women, women who are super fit, friendly, feminine, welcomes you, builds a home with you, appreciates all the hard work you do, understands the value of a man, doesn't think strong, independent, doesn't think about divorcing, grew up in a more stable society, nothing extreme, no corporatist, socialist hellhole that America has turned into where it's profits over people, and you will find your happiness. I'm telling you, it exists. Not just for me personally, but you'll find it. Look at all the Passport Bro videos. Look at all the men going overseas and finding women easily, getting married and having children and sustaining themselves easily. Your dollar goes 10 times further overseas easily. Instead of surviving, you are now thriving and living easily. You're no longer a corporate cuck slave, and you get to live your life and see your family blossom, and you get to cherish all the things you have easily. And these people will tell you here, under the system that we have, that's designed to squeeze every dollar out of a man, that this is the best system we have, that you should stay here, that you should get in a no-fault divorce marriage, that it's actually hurting women to get rid of no-fault divorce marriage. They never talk about how it's affecting men, and it's mostly men that get affected by no-fault divorces because it's mostly men initiating the divorces. 80% of women, college educated, are divorcing the men.
Yeah, and most of the time it's not because of being in an abusive relationship, Anna.
80% initiated by the women. Women are taking advantage. of no-fault divorces. Go overseas where the laws are much better, are in your favor, are far more logical and rationally made when it comes to marriages. The one in Romania says from what I've heard and been told to me multiple times, you know who gets the kids? The parent who has the highest income. Do you know what the divorce rate in Romania is? It's like 22%. Everywhere all around Europe, besides some of the other conservative nations, it's like 70, 60, 80, 90. In like Portugal or Spain, one of those two, when we were looking at the rates. There's a reason. When you apply penalties to marriage and don't give the party that breaks the contract any leeway, people tend to not break the contract. And when people tend to get married, if they ever do, it's taken far more serious. Therefore, the contract is broken less and less. So, yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Bo. That's all I've been trying to say this whole live stream. That's all. And that's what women like her don't understand. You want to talk about abuse? Y'all are abusing the system when it comes to no fault divorce. Since that's what she seems to be stuck on. Y'all are abusing the system when it comes to no fault divorce. And men are seeing it. And due to the fact that the government is benefiting so much from it, well, apparently they're not benefiting from it too much anymore, because now they're starting to see the effect that it has on a declining marriage rate, on a declining birth rate. They're seeing more and more men go overseas to find love and happiness and start a family. And we know that's true because from the looks of it, apparently the powers that be are starting to put a magnifying glass to the passport bros. You know what I mean? Mainstream media is, as well, seems to all, passport bros seem to have their attention now. You're starting to see more and more people look for remote work. The West is cooked, bro. But changing this could be the start of some form of a resurgence, something. But I'm like, it starts here, but got a long way to go, man. Still got to get rid of alimony, child support, those other incentives that Bo was talking about. Like I said earlier, you guys, if you take away all these incentives, women would have no choice but to move different. They would have no choice but to. That's why you got really low divorce rates, like he said, in Romania, where it's 22%. But in countries where it's a lot more liberal, if you notice, those divorce rates tend to be a lot higher. And most of the time, it's not because they were in an abusive relationship like she's trying to push. Shout out to Ben Cisco with the $10 super chat. Says excellent stream, wrong. Thank you so much, man. Man, I always appreciate you seeing you, bro. Oh man, Alex, can you drop the fair use for me, please? Oh man, damn, bro, you on point, man. Shout out to my moderator, bro. Let's get it. 104 watching. Please hit that like button, y'all. Let's get it.
Yes, for those that are wondering, Bo, how's it going overseas? Well, if you're talking this much about this, and if you're saying it's so great, well, where's yours? Blah, blah, blah. I'm happy. I'm chilling. I'm going to the beaches. I'm enjoying my vacation. I'm in beautiful countries. It's cheap as hell. Cost of living is crazy. I can eat out every single day. Ubers cost a couple of dollars.
Man.
Food is always fresh. There's no chemicals trying to kill me. Weather's amazing. There's no crime. I can walk at 4 a.m. Don't got to worry about getting stabbed, robbed, murdered. People aren't angry. Everything is clean. There's no homeless encampments everywhere. There's no one taking a shit in the middle of the street. There's no one injecting themselves with the latest whatever drug, like on the streets of San Francisco and shit, LA, any big city in America. It's insane, dude. Life overseas is a shock. And people wonder why when an American gets a taste for life overseas, already they're thinking of how to make this a permanent thing, because we've been all sold a lie. America's the greatest place on earth. America is blah, blah, blah. It was 100 years ago. Yeah, you were way ahead of everybody else. Dude, the world is caught up. Your government doesn't care about you. They spend your tax money on frivolous shit. They do insider trading. Your bridges are crumbling. Your roads are shit and full of potholes. Your housing, shit. It doesn't even exist. They've sold off the market to private entities. BlackRock buying every home you've ever wanted to move into and then renting it out for you for double the price. Your groceries increasing. Gas increasing. Wages decreasing. Stagnating. Less benefits. College loans absolutely balloon. Can't discharge them. Jobs not available. H-1B visa, if you're in a specialized job, give it to the dude overseas. Why? Because he's cheaper. Made in America used to mean something. The American dream used to mean something. Now it's just hanging on to what has been while the empire slowly degrades, continues to decline, and you're told to be a real man and partake in this degenerate system that's headed for inevitable failure unless we somehow right this ship. And we're not going to right this ship with geriatric morons at the helm who hardly know where they are. And this goes for both Team Red and Team Blue, because the ship has been taking on water since Team Red and Team Blue have been manning all the masts. That's the problem. Kick these fuckers overboard and replace them with everyday, common, hard-working Americans that know what it's like to live in the real world and see what the real day-to-day problems are of surviving in the modern corporate American society today. Maybe then we'll fix this shit. Until then, I don't care what comes out of any politician's mouth who's never had to work a normal job their entire fucking lives. Billionaires and career politicians can blow me.
Era where no-fault divorces were not allowed, where they were banned. Republican lawmakers have discussed increasing restrictions on no-fault marriage law, or I'm sorry, no-fault marriage.
Come on, get it
laws,
together, Anna.
eliminating them entirely in Louisiana, in Oklahoma, Nebraska, Texas. In January, for instance, the Oklahoma state senator, Dusty Devers.
Dusty?
It's a fun name, I guess. But he's a far-right Christian pastor who describes himself as an abortion abolitionist, introduced a bill that would eliminate no-fault divorces in his state. Devers wrote last year in a Christian publication that making divorce too easy causes social upheaval, unfettered dishonesty. Let's pause for a second. You want to talk about unfettered dishonesty?
No, Anna, don't pause, because he had a point. It causes social upheaval, unfettered dishonesty, lawlessness, violence towards women, war on men, and expendability of children. To devalue marriage is to devalue the family, is to undermine the foundation of a thriving society. That's a far-right take, guys. Listen, that's a far-right extremist take. To want to empower the sanctity of marriage, to empower family, to build a thriving society. No, the libtards will tell you, go back to hedonism, materialism. Absolutely don't have any accountability for your actions. You should.
And that's what I apologize, you guys. And that's what's so sad, bro. Think about this. There was a time where the nuclear family is what made this country strong. And this is why I truly believe in propaganda and this all being done by design, because it doesn't make sense that 60 years ago, give or take, nuclear family was a thing. And then you fast forward to now, it is the complete opposite. So much so that if you have a far right take or a traditional take such as this, is considered extreme. This is considered extreme. Men wanting to keep their families together is considered extreme now. That's crazy, bro. I mean, like, really, bro. It's like, let me tell you something. If the goal was to keep people single in order to have more taxpayers and shit like that. Because let me tell you, bro, they doing a damn good job. Because the way y'all got these women thinking, and the way men are getting dragged through in divorce court, bro, men have no incentive to get married. That's why men are checking out, or they're going overseas where there's a little bit more balance in case there ever was to be a split. Because if women truly wanted equality, this wouldn't even be a thing. Like dead ass. Like it wouldn't even be a thing. If women really wanted equality, making y'all own money and everything, y'all wouldn't be fighting against this. But reality is y'all benefit from it and y'all are incentivized. So you're going to fight for it. Otherwise, like I said, they're going to have to start moving different in terms of mate selecting. You can no longer use the dual mating strategy like you used to, because that's going to be far too dangerous and far too risky. You know what I mean? Because how many times have we done stories on women that were married and they're cheating on their husband and they end up getting pregnant by the side dude? Remember the one chick that Angela Yee was interviewing over the phone? And I think she had a kid or two, and the kid was by the brother's by her man's cousin or something like that. And she didn't want to tell her husband, but she was still screwing the cousin the whole time. And the crazy part about it, just like Bo said, that woman could divorce him and leave him hanging out to dry, even though he wasn't at fault, even though he wasn't the one that broke the contract. So to sit over here and try to act like men don't need any kind of protection when it comes to divorce, when you talk about the unalive rates, homelessness, if this should be the last thing liberals should be fighting against, but it just goes to show you, bro, when it comes to these liberals, leftists, feminists, whatever you want to call them, that have these stance, it's not about equality, man. It's about what's best and only what's in the interest of women. That's not equality.
Should be freely, willy-nilly, getting married, getting divorced, having kids out of wedlock, blah, 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 destroying society and its whole fabric morally, all for the self. Me. And look at the greedy society we're in today and why it's turned so shit. We have no sense of community.
Let's pause for a second. You want to talk about unfettered dishonesty?
Here we go.
What do you think people do when they're in an unhappy marriage and they can't get out of it? You think they're faithful to one another? You think they're honest with one another? You don't think they might want to live double lives because they're stuck in an unhappy marriage by force thanks to the state?
Ma'am, you got people out here cheating in marriages. You know what? I'm not even gonna go there.
Let me continue though. Lawlessness, violence toward women. How laughable is this? War on men.
Laughable.
And expendability of children. To devalue
war on men, yeah. War on masculinity. It ain't laughable. Ain't shit funny about it. Like, you literally come on this show and shit on men all the time, but it ain't a war on men. Okay.
marriage is to devalue the family, is to undermine the foundation of a thriving society. Unfortunately, this guy's not alone. There are others who feel this way. In 2022, the Republican Party of Texas added this language to its platform. We urge the legislature to rescind unilateral no-fault divorce laws, to support covenant marriage, and to pass legislation extending the period of time in which a divorce may occur to 6 months after the date of filing for divorce.
Excellent.
Louisiana Republicans have workshopped a similar proposal, and the Nebraska GOP writes on its website that no-fault divorce should only be accessible to couples without children.
Excellent.
I don't understand.
You know what? I think I can get behind that. I think I understand why they would do that. Yeah, I'm like, and that's yeah, and look at the look on her face when she read that. But like I said, man, because somebody said this woman is dating or dealing with a baseball player. I truly believe, bro, if she was not dealing with a man of higher status that made more money than her, I genuinely do not think she would have this same stance. I really believe that, bro. Because every time a woman's had to pay alimony or child support, they always bitch and complain about it when they're the breadwinner.
Understand how children living in a household with parents who can't stand each other and who do not get along is good for the children. It is not good for the children.
Why don't you talk about the 1 in 3 kids being born out of wedlock in single parent homes where the daddy government is the only daddy in their life? Why don't you talk about the fact that marriage rates have declined 60% in just since 1970? Why don't you talk about that even with these no-fault divorce laws you're coveting so much, that the marriage rate continues to decline and is sharply declining still? Why don't you talk about the fact that men have sounded the alarm as to why they refuse to get married today, why they see it as a bad deal, and this is simply a step in the process to fix a lopsided contract enforced by the state. Why can't you hear the other side? War on men, laughable, as she lives in a gynocracy where she could point the finger at a man, accuse him with no proof of doing something, and all her accusations are taken seriously. God forbid the man is somewhat famous or has any fame in any capacity, is a public figure, because he will be forced to step down from his position, apologize for what he's done, can get blackmailed essentially by her in order to make this whole thing go away. His life altered permanently, and the story can be recanted later, and nobody gives a shit. The power of a woman. It exists. It happens all over society. Johnny Depp, and that was a famous, powerful, wealthy man.
At all. And if it's abusive, if it's an environment that is full of constant conflict,
if that's the environment you're in, why are you married in the first place? Do you see?
And here's my thing. And maybe I'm just being too simple, but last time I checked, if you're in an abusive marriage and you can prove it, well, you should still be able to get a divorce, right? I know it was mentioned earlier that it can be hard to prove, but in all seriousness, there's ways of proving it. There's ways of proving it. Yeah, it might be a little extensive, but there's ways. But there's ways to prove it. All right, let's not be disingenuous. And my thing is this: like Bo said, if you got such an issue with this, don't get married. The reason why you have an issue with this is because, based on what I'm seeing in my audience, you're dating a baseball player. and you want to be able to cash out, even if he is the perfect husband.
See how their logic is circular? No fault divorce makes it easier to get divorced, makes it easier to not give a shit about marriage and its vows. Gets married to the wrong person, has a shitty household, needs no fault divorce to get out of it. Circular. In a circle we go. No fault divorces empowering shitty divorces. You get rid of no fault divorces, you get rid of people marrying for all the wrong reasons.
Oh Lord, she's married? Are you serious? She's married. Oh Lord. Her husband gotta have side chicks. He gotta have side. He better have some side chicks. Oh my God, man. I feel sorry for him. He better have some side chicks, bro. So it makes sense now. Now I know why she has such a strong stance about this. That's why that's why. Because if this was to really go into effect, like you ain't getting any of those millions.
Destabilizing for children.
Oh,
I don't understand
wow.
how anyone can think this is a good idea. Federal lawmakers like J.D. Vance and House Speaker Mike Johnson, as well as former HUD Secretary Ben Carson, have also spoken out in favor of tightening divorce laws. At the Republican National Convention.
Oh, and I want to make an argument about that real quick because she wants over here and she said she doesn't think that's good for the children. It's statistically proven that the children thrive more when both parents are in the same house. You know, just because two people fall out of love doesn't mean they can't co-parent. And if you believe that is so good for couples to co-parent and not be in the same house, and it's statistically proven that it's better when both are in the same house. And see, once again, this is the difference between somebody arguing facts versus emotions and how they feel. Because I guarantee you, whoever the people that are saying that is better for them to be in the same house are probably people that are looking at the stats. And she seems to only look at stats when they're beneficial to fit her narrative.
Back in 2016, delegates considered adding language declaring children are made to be loved by both natural parents, united in marriage. Legal structures such as no-fault divorce, which divides families and empowers the state, should be replaced by a fault-based divorce.
Yes,
Again,
absolutely.
I really do think that the outcome of this should.
Because I've noticed somebody new in the chat. Mountains of the Moon. Are you a woman? No, I'm pausing the show because I asked the question. Okay, yeah. I can usually tell by what's being said in the chat if it's a man or a woman. Yeah. Far from the Godfather, but I'm still undefeated too. Oh man. Blue Exodus with the $5 super chat says she keeps bringing up abuse but won't talk about these allowed les domestic rates, right? Because they a hell of a lot higher. Thank you for that super chat, brother. Oh yeah, I ain't say you was hating. You know, otherwise I would have just said. Otherwise I would have just said you was hating. I don't think you hating. It's just the way you I can just tell by your stance that you're a woman.
Should these types of laws pass on a state level, it's very unlikely to happen on a federal level. But if they do pass on a state level, I would venture to say that marriage rates in those states will experience a decline. Because if you know that it's going to be more difficult to divorce your partner, should the marriage end up kind of falling apart, well, maybe you don't want to take that risk of getting married.
And haven't we been saying that in the chat the whole time? Don't get married then. I tell you, bro.
And legislation banning no-fault divorce is, again, unlikely to ever pass on a national level. But if red states manage to enact these bans, couples in those states could be out of luck. Divorce laws generally include a residency requirement.
Yeah, and you'll see that most of the red states then will be the ones that are all going to get married, and the blue states won't, and they'll live under civil unions and continue not having kids and going rainbow-colored hair, identifying as 10 million things, and will breed themselves out of existence. And the only ones having kids will be those conservatives in the red states that believe in the sanctity of marriage and a nuclear family. Okay, so nature will solve this problem all on its own. Again, you're a grown woman. If you don't want to get married, you could just say no. Or you
Mountains of the Moon. I agree with you, but the reasons why women are scared to get married versus men are not wanting to get married are two completely different things. Women don't work. Women don't have to worry about losing half of everything and having very limited access, in some cases, no access to the children. It's completely different. It's completely different. Like it's a reason why the unalive rates are a lot higher for men than women. It typically comes from divorce, and women file more and benefit more. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you, but a man's reasons is I would argue are a little bit more extreme as to why women are scared to get married. If I'm being brutally honest with you, today's women, the real reason why they don't want to get married is because they want to be able to move around like the men that they want to be able to move around like the men that can sleep with a lot of women. That's what you're seeing now. Let's keep it moving.
you could be a real progressive, strong libtard and just say, I don't believe in marriage, Ted. We can just live under the same roof forever, whether your state is no fault or not. See how easy this problem has just been solved? You can't get out of marriage. Okay, simply don't get married. Cool story. Wow, incredible.
Exactly.
Which would make it
Exactly. And going back to Mountain and the Moon. Okay, Mountains of the Moon. Yeah. I know you said you don't like Anna. But this right here, you sound just like Anna with this right here. Yeah. See, this is why, let me tell you something, Mountains on the Moon. This is typically why when somebody like you pops up in the chat, I usually try to just ignore it, because you try to come off like you're neutral, But the more I go back and forth with you, the more you start to show your true stance. You ain't that much different than Anna. Blue Exodus with the $5 super chat says she keeps bringing up abuse but won't talk. Oh yeah, I already wrote that. My bad, you guys. Let's keep it moving, man. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave that alone. I knew if I engaged enough, you show your hand eventually.
Difficult for people to even cross state lines in order to get a divorce. And luckily, so far, none of these efforts have succeeded.
Luckily.
And Denise Lieberman, who's a professor at the university, at the Washington University
Whoa,
School of Law,
professors.
they will, saying, quote, I do believe that
Denise.
the train has left the station. I mean, we've had no-fault divorce now for 50 years, but I didn't think the Supreme Court would overturn Roe v. Wade, which we had for 50 years. So I suppose we will see. So no one knows for sure. No one has the ability to predict what's going to happen.
Yes, we know. Eventually, no-fault divorce will be nationwide. We have a conservative Supreme Court. They've already overturned something as massive as Roe v. Wade. Simply ruling on the fact that no contract can be entered with no fault is absurd. I think one day they will rule on this if it gets to the Supreme Court. It will become federal everywhere. It makes logical sense to end that. There is a larger and larger base of disgruntled men with a huge voting bloc and influence still. They may not be the economic drivers today, but their vote is still a vote, 1 for 1. There are a lot of them and growing and being isolated and disgruntled and angry at the system and how it's not working for them at all and how disconnected they feel from everything. The few that are capable financially of leaving already have. The others are stuck here in a desperate hell, surviving day in and day out, working in dead-end jobs, dreaming of one day having a family. But reality slaps them down every day. Economically, it's just not viable. Yeah. You think this shit is all an accident? That Team Red is now pandering to this growing subset of men that's becoming the mainstream, that's becoming a large voting bloc of all age ranges? You think they would put me on a DHS list and everybody else that talks about this shit if it wasn't a problem?
Happen in these red states.
Yeah, because now that I think about it, Legion of Men was on that list too. He was pretty high on that list. I was kind of surprised. But once again, you guys, that's why I told you guys to hold the line, bro. First it was Roe v. Wade. Now this. So you can't. Yeah, I mean, I just did a video recently, not too long ago, about the government being concerned about the declining birth rate. It's like, why would you not expect a decline in birth rate when y'all raising the prices on everything, but you're not raising the wages? Like, yeah, you can't sit over here and get mad at a decline in birth rate when you're not incentivizing anybody to bring marriage or children by raising the cost of living it on everything. It's stupid.
States that seem to have lawmakers hell-bent on ending no-fault divorces. But I do.
Malik Quelly with the $5 super chat says, eliminate any incentive for getting divorced, like alimony, child support, etc., and we will see how many women leave. Thought they like bad boys. I'm like, yeah, they ain't gonna be spending too much. It'll make them think twice about dealing with a bad boy because they know bad boys when they see them. They know it. It just pisses me off when they deal with them and then turn around and want to loop all men in with them when y'all know damn well most men are not like that. Oh, I'm not accusing Mountains of the Moon on anything. She's entitled to her own opinion, but at the same time, here's what I'm gonna let you know what I'm observing, Mrs. Dawn. Whenever a woman comes into these conversations or in these chats and they say things like, well, women don't want this either, or when women don't want, you see what I'm saying? That's why I asked her if she was a woman, because she came into the chat. It seemed like, based on everything that she's saying in the chat, she's spending more time trying to counterbalance the argument. That if you really pay attention to what she's throwing in the chat, everything is her trying to counterbalance the argument. Thank you. That's how I was able to tell that she was a woman. No shade, no hate. You're entitled to your own opinion. But that's how I was able to tell that you were a woman, because you pretty much spent the whole time counter arguing, or I won't say counter arguing because you don't really seem to disagree, but counterbalance. Yeah, see? Thank you. So before anybody get all defensive, I got people agreeing with my observation. So I don't want nobody coming for me.
I do think the story is something that needs to be emphasized, because while you have the Republican Party, speaking in a certain way, using certain rhetoric that appeals to ordinary American workers who are looking for an economic populist message, Republicans are still the same people who they've always been in regard to their so-called conservative values. And those conservative values tend to translate into the state having a say on the most intimate personal decisions you can make about your life and your household. I can't ever support that. I think this is incredibly gross, and I think it shows a certain level of insecurity, male insecurity in the
Oh my goodness, bro. I can't, bro. It's only a minute left, and I don't even want to watch the rest of it after she just said that stupid ass shit. I'm cool, bro. I'm cool. I'm cool, bro. It was literally like a minute left, and I'm like, I'm good. Alex, I'm right there with you, man. Soon as I finish this up, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? Stuff me up one of these. I'm good, bro. Jesus Christ, are you kidding me? Insecurity. I don't know, or maybe men just want to secure their assets. I don't know. Maybe they don't want to give up the things that they work hard for, only to turn around and give it to somebody else. And you want to know what's interesting about that? Because I'm tired of it too. Because here's what's interesting. Women only call men insecure when it comes to, so that way they can get away with some kind of behavior, or they can keep some kind of leverage. And this is just another example of that. When was the last time you heard a woman say a man was insecure about something that wasn't beneficial to her, or involved her getting away with something that she probably wouldn't want her man doing. When was the last time you heard that? Don't worry, I'll wait. Ooh, wee, damn, the tender jumping, y'all. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, man. I love Thailand. Yeah, I'm good, bro. Yeah, yeah. That's why I just shut that shit off, man. I ain't trying to hear that bullshit. Uh yeah, Anna is a nightmare. She really is. Cause I'm thinking to myself, you want to I think it shows male insecurity. Based on her logic, I will argue that you're insecure about this change being made because you probably don't even want to be in the marriage that you're in. You're probably planning your escape plan so that way you can cash out. That's why you're against this so much. Because again, I guarantee you, if she was the breadwinner in her marriage, she would not be arguing about this shit. She probably wouldn't even want to talk about this topic. That's exactly what it is. Like whoever this baseball player is, he need to wise the hell up and leave her. Goodness gracious, man. Yo, man, shout out to everybody that sent a super chat. Oh man. Not 90 watching. Please hit that like button on the way in. I'm like, yeah, I hope that brother got a prenup. And even if he did, you know, they'll try to find a way. She'll probably try to no hey, if she talking like this, even if she did sign a prenup, you know she gonna do everything in her power to crack it, man. You know she will. Even if she did sign a prenup, bruh, this kind of attitude, you know she ain't gonna settle for that. Damn, Blue X's. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. But yeah, man, it's real out here, bro. Yeah, if I was him, I cut ties with her right now while you still playing, man, so that way you can make some of that money back because she definitely coming for that. You know what I mean? The way she talking on this shit. Right. He had a prenup and still had to fork out millions. Millions. Right. I was thinking about her when I said that too, Jacoby. Samantha Lee still over here trying to crack the prenup. Meanwhile, she and everybody face over here giving out relationship advice. Meanwhile, she over here being exposed by Tyrese. Because if you notice, you really don't see her on. I really haven't seen her too much since Tyrese broke the news of what's really going on. So, and you know what? And you want to know the sad part about that Blue Exodus? This is what I'm talking about, man. This is why I say all the time, a lot of these women don't think long term. Jonathan Owens is still young in his NFL career. By the time he finishes and retires, he'll have more money and will be more than likely be making more money than Simone Biles. I'm like, these gymnasts, they don't do that for too long. You know what I mean? Like gymnast, that's a young woman's sport. That's not a you know what I'm saying? Jonathan Owens, he can play till he well into his 30s making millions. Mike Hawk, man. Shout out to my members, bro. Appreciate you guys. Got 90 watching, man. Please hit that like button. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I will be going live same time tomorrow. Don't know exactly what the topic will be, but if you guys come across anything between now and tomorrow, please feel free to send it to my email. Make sure y'all check out and subscribe to the travel vlog channel, Unplugged Traveler. The link is in the chat, as well as follow me on TikTok, Instagram. Make sure y'all subscribe and check out the new music on the music channel as well. You guys, just dropped a mixtape yesterday, Passport Music Volume 1. And yeah, you guys, I think that's it, man. The travel channel. Yeah, that's the link to the travel channel, you guys. It's the link to the music channel. And if you want to support through the merch, you can do that as well. 88 watching, man. Please hit that like button on your way out. And if you haven't heard the new music, at the beginning of the live, you know, I always play the music at the end as well. I'll go ahead and rock out, you guys. Please hit that like button on your way out if you haven't already. And again, thanks to everybody that donated. Until next time, you guys, deuces.